Once upon a time, in the heart of the great African village, there lived a young man named Musa. Musa was known far and wide, not for his strength or his wealth, but for his cleverness and wisdom. He had a keen mind and a quick tongue, and many sought his advice when faced with difficult problems. This village, usually brimming with life and laughter, faced an unexpected challenges. The rains had stopped coming, and a terrible drought plagued the land. The crops withered under the relentless sun, the rivers ran dry, and the animals disappeared in search of water. The village elders, wise but worried, gathered in the center of the village. Their faces were lined with concern as they discussed the dire situation. They knew that without water, their people and their way of life would be in grave danger. The villagers gathered, hoping for a solution, but none seemed forthcoming. Among the villagers was a Musa. As Musa listened to the elders, a spark of inspiration ignited in his mind. He remembered an old story his grandmother had told him many times as a child. It was a tale of a magical calabash hidden deep within the forbidden forest. This calabash, according to the legend, had the power to summon rain. Though it sounded like a fairy tale, Musa felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this calabash could save his village. Musa stood up and addressed the elders and the gathered villagers. "I remember a tale of a magic calabash that can bring rain. It is said to be in the forbidden forest. I will go and find it." The villagers murmured among themselves. The forbidden forest was a place of mystery and danger, but they had little choice. With reluctant blessings, they agreed to let Musa embark on this perilous journey. Musa prepared for his journey with care. He packed a small bag with provisions, some dried meat, a few yams, and a gourd of water. He also took a sturdy walking stick to help navigate the dense forest. Early the next morning, before the first light of dawn, Musa set out on his quest, determined to save his village. As Musa entered the forbidden forest, the air grew cooler, and the trees towered high above him, blocking out the sun. The forest was alive with sounds, but they were different from the familiar noises of his village. Strange birds called out, and unseen creatures rustled in the underbrush. Musa felt a chill run down his spine, but he pressed on. After several hours of walking, Musa encountered his first obstacle, a wide river, swollen and swift from rains far upstream. There was no bridge, and the water looked dangerous. Musa knew he had to cross, but how? He walked along the riverbank until he found a spot where the current seemed slightly calmer. Using his walking stick to gauge the depth, he carefully waded into the water. The water was cold and powerful, pushing against Musa with surprising force. He took slow, steady steps, using his stick to balance. At one point, he slipped, and for a heart-stopping moment, he thought he would be swept away. But Musa's determination kept him steady. He regained his footing and continued, finally reaching the other side, soaked but safe. On the other side of the river, the forest grew denser. The trees seemed to close in around Musa, and the path became less clear. He had to push through thick undergrowth and navigate around fallen trees. It was slow going, and every rustle or snap of a twig made his heart race. But Musa reminded himself of his village and their need for water, and he kept moving forward. Eventually, Musa arrived at a small clearing, bathed in an eerie light. In the center stood an ancient tortoise, its shell adorned with intricate patterns. This was Kumi, the wise guardian of the magical calabash. Kumi's eyes seemed to see straight into Musa's soul. "Why have you come here, young one?" the tortoise asked in a voice that echoed through the clearing. Musa bowed respectfully and explained the plight of his village. He spoke of the drought, the withered crops, and the desperate need for water. Kumi listened without interruption, his ancient eyes never leaving Musa's face. When Musa finished, the tortoise remained silent for a moment, contemplating the young man's words. "The calabash can indeed bring rain," Kumi finally said, "but it is not given freely. To earn it, you must solve a riddle. Fail, and you must leave this place empty-handed." Musa felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach, but he nodded. "I am ready," he said, his voice steady. Kumi spoke the riddle slowly, each word hanging in the air. "I speak without a mouth, and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Musa closed his eyes, thinking hard. He remembered his grandmother's tales, the lessons she had imparted. After a moment, a smile spread across Musa's face. He opened his eyes and looked at Kumi. "An echo," he said confidently. The tortoise's eyes sparkled with approval. "You are indeed clever, young Musa. The calabash is yours." With a slow, deliberate motion, Kumi revealed the magical calabash, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. Musa took the calabash with reverence, feeling its power thrumming beneath his fingers. "Thank you, wise Kumi," he said. "I will use this gift to save my village." Kumi nodded, a serene smile on his face. "Go, and may the rain bless your land." With the calabash in hand, Musa began his journey back. The forest seemed less foreboding now, and he moved with a new sense of purpose. The river, which had been so challenging before, was easier to cross with the calabash's power guiding him. The whispers of the forest seemed to cheer him on, as if the very trees were rooting for his success. As Musa approached his village, he saw the familiar faces of his people, lined with worry and hope. They had been waiting for his return, praying for his success. When they saw the calabash in his hands, a collective gasp of amazement swept through the crowd. Musa stood in the center of the parched fields, holding the calabash high. He spoke the incantation that Kumi had taught him, his voice strong and clear. The sky, which had been relentlessly blue, began to darken. Clouds gathered, and a cool breeze swept through the village. The first drop of rain fell, then another and another. Soon, a gentle rain turned into a downpour, drenching the thirsty land. The villagers danced and sang in joy, their spirits lifted by the life-giving water. The rivers began to flow again, and the crops revived, their green shoots pushing through the once dry earth. The village elders declared a feast to celebrate Musa's bravery and wisdom. They honored him with gifts and praise, and he became a hero in the eyes of his people. Musa's cleverness and determination had saved them, and his story was told and retold around every fire and in every home. With the rains returning, life in the village flourished once more. The animals returned, the fields bloomed, and the river sang its familiar song. Musa continued to use his wit and wisdom to help his people, becoming a respected advisor to the elders. Musa's family was immensely proud of him. His parents, who had always believed in his potential, were overjoyed. His grandmother, the source of the old tales, smiled knowingly, her heart full of pride and love. The tale of Musa and the magic calabash spread far beyond his village. Travelers carried the story to distant lands, inspiring others with the lesson that even in the darkest times, hope and intelligence can light the way. Musa's name became synonymous with cleverness and courage. While the village celebrated Musa's bravery, not everyone was happy. Some of the young men in the village began to feel jealous. They had always seen themselves as strong and capable, but Musa's intelligence and courage had brought him fame and respect. They whispered among themselves, plotting ways to bring Musa down. One day, the king's daughter, Princess Zara, visited the village. She had heard the incredible story of Musa and the magic calabash. Curious, she wanted to meet the young man who had saved the village. When she saw Musa, she was impressed by his kindness and wisdom. Musa, too, was captivated by her beauty and grace. Princess Zara began visiting the village more often, spending time with Musa. They talked about many things, and she admired his cleverness and bravery. The villagers noticed their growing affection and started to talk. Many were happy for Musa, but the jealous youths grew even more resentful. Determined to tarnish Musa's image, the jealous youths began to spread rumors. They whispered lies, saying that Musa had only found the calabash by accident and that he was taking all the credit unfairly. They hoped to turn the villagers against him and make him lose the princess's favor. The rumors reached the village elders and the people. Some began to doubt Musa, questioning his integrity. Musa felt hurt and confused, but remained calm. He knew the truth and trusted that it would prevail. He continued to act with kindness and respect, not letting the accusations change him. Princess Zara stood by Musa, believing in his goodness and courage. She confronted the jealous youths, demanding they stop their lies. "Musa has proven his bravery and wisdom," she said firmly. "You should be ashamed of your jealousy." Her words silenced many of the doubters and strengthened Musa's resolve. Despite Princess Zara's support, the jealous youths did not give up. They tried several more schemes to discredit Musa, but each one failed. Musa's actions always proved his honesty and bravery. He continued to help the villagers and solve problems with his cleverness, further solidifying his reputation. One day, a serious problem arose in the village. A dangerous animal had been spotted near the fields, threatening the villagers and their livestock. The jealous youths saw this as an opportunity to prove themselves. They set out to capture the beast, but their efforts were disorganized and reckless. When Musa heard about the situation, he quickly devised a plan. Using his intelligence and calm demeanor, he managed to trap the animal safely without anyone getting hurt. The villagers were relieved and praised Musa once again. The jealous youths, having failed miserably, were humbled. Realizing their mistakes, the jealous youths came to Musa and apologized. They admitted their envy and wrongdoings. Musa, with his kind heart, forgave them. "We are all part of this village," he said. "We must work together and support each other." His words brought a sense of unity and peace to the village. Impressed by Musa's consistent bravery and wisdom, the king invited him to the palace. He offered Musa a position as an advisor, recognizing his valuable qualities. Musa was honored and accepted, eager to help not just his village, but the entire kingdom. With the approval of both the king and the villagers, Musa and Princess Zara were married in a grand celebration. Their union symbolized the triumph of intelligence, kindness, and bravery over jealousy and deceit. The entire village rejoiced, proud of their hero. As Musa settled into his new role at the palace, he continued to work for the betterment of his people. He introduced new ideas to improve agriculture, education, and health. The kingdom flourished under his guidance, and his reputation as a wise and fair advisor grew. Musa's story became a legend, told to children across the land. It taught lessons of courage, intelligence, and the importance of staying true to oneself. The villagers always remembered how Musa had saved them and brought prosperity to their land. In the end, Musa's cleverness, courage, and kindness not only saved his village, but also earned him the love of Princess Zara and a place of honor in the kingdom. Dear amazing viewers, if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like, share, and turn on post notifications to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Stay blessed.